Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to another review here on the channel. This review in particular being for Quantum Break. Now, Quantum Break is a very unique experience when it comes to video games. They lean a lot on player choice. They have a lot of, in my opinion, really cool, really well filmed and written cutscenes that are played in between the individual acts. And overall, maybe a little bit of a spoiler for the review, this game was one of the most fun games that I've played since playing The Witcher 3. Now, let's get into the actual review itself. We will use our 4 normal criteria for reviewing a game. Criteria number 1, fun factor. Is it a fun game to play? Is it not? What's fun about it? Criteria number 2, strengths of the game. What is the game good at? If you enjoy the strengths of the game, you enjoy that type of element of a game, this game's probably going to be for you. Criteria number 3, time investment. Is the time that you're going to put into it worth actually what you're going to get out of the game? And finally, criteria number 4, who would I recommend the game for? If you fall into this category, this game is definitely for you. Now, let's start off with criteria number 1, and always number 1 in terms of criteria for whether a game is good or not is fun factor. This game is so much fun. If you enjoy any type of third-person shooter that has a lot of really cool mechanics to the game, this is definitely something that you're going to enjoy. There are a lot of different abilities that you get in Control, and you're able to upgrade them throughout the game. You can upgrade them at kind of any rate that you want to, and that part of the game's a lot of fun. Now, one of the cool things that this game does, and I have to point this out even before we get to the strengths, it's so much fun because all of your abilities are on different cooldown timers. So it brings a lot of uniqueness to the game where, yes, there are a lot of ways where you have to use certain abilities to do certain things, or there are certain abilities that will be better in certain situations than others. But the game allows you to tackle and stack all of these abilities in different ways to accomplish whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, to eliminate whatever these enemies are that stand in your way. It's a really well done aspect of the game, and just it made it so much fun just flying around and doing, you know, what you needed to do. To balance that out, though, there aren't so many abilities, there aren't so many guns, there aren't so many enemies that it's confusing. It keeps you involved. There's enough ammo, guns are where they need to be, and you can tackle them in any way you want to. It's really just it's so much fun. One other aspect that's a lot of fun is seeing how certain choices that you make, as well as certain things that you find when you're playing through the main game, affect things like cutscenes, affect things like future things that you see in the game. It's very fun to see how that all kind of chains together. It's something where I want to definitely explore it, potentially at some point, in terms of making different choices. What would it take if I found different things? Like, I want to see how that would change the story and what would change. Criteria number 2, strengths of the game. Now, the game is very strong in terms of combat. You would hope that it is, and in my opinion, it is very strong. Having all of the different abilities on different cooldowns, like I mentioned previously, definitely lends to that strength. There weren't any enemies that I felt like were too underpowered, and there weren't any enemies that I felt were way too overpowered. I did struggle a little bit with one of the final fights, but that was more my own misunderstanding of a visual cue that was happening during that fight rather than the actual game itself. Overall, it gives you the right amount of abilities, and every enemy you have to take seriously enough, but there isn't any particular enemy that I felt like I had to completely change the way I was playing just to defeat them. There was always a way to do it with what I was given. Another strength of the game is the story. The way that they tell the story, the way that you experience the story and experience the world is unlike any game that I have played in my entire life. It's very well done. Obviously, there are a lot of big name actors that they got to do the voices. It all sounds crisp. It feels crisp. And there are so many questions that I have in a good way that I really wish that there was a direct sequel coming out for this game. As of recording, I haven't heard anything, and it's been a few years, so there's a good chance that there won't be. But this is one of those games where definitely would be deserving of a good sequel. Strength number 3, and I'm going to add this one in kind of here at the end. I would argue that replayability is definitely a strength of this game. None of the levels or acts were ever too long where I couldn't sit down and make a different choice and replay through an act to see what the end result would be and how that would be different. If you're someone who wants to pick the perfect path, or you're someone who wants to play every single way that you can, there seem to be a number of different ways to play this game and a number of different things that you can change or do, or different choices you can make to change the outcome of the game. And I want to see what that's all going to bring forth. And final strength that I'm going to add to the game is its connection to other games. This game is connected to Alan Wake as well as Control. They are all within the same universe, and I'm currently playing through Control as of recording this, so I'm very excited to see how all three of those worlds are connected and how they mesh, and potentially going forward, how all of those what those will mean for future stories. Criteria number 3, time investment. Overall, the actual amount of time invested into this game is going to be a little bit lower. The actual amount of gameplay, I would estimate probably around 16 hours, maybe a little bit more. That does include the actual cutscenes and sitting through and watching those. In my opinion, the actual cutscenes definitely added to the experience of the game, and it's definitely worth it to sit there and actually like go through those as you're going through the game. It does do a really good job, though, of breaking up the game, so that way if you need to finish it in multiple sessions, that's definitely, it leaves you at very, very well-defined points to kind of leave off and then pick back up. And then, is the time that you're going to spend in the game worth it? 100%. Absolutely. Absolutely, without a doubt. The time that you spend in the game is worth it. The time that you spend exploring, the time that you're going to spend figuring out kind of, okay, how does this fit into this and how does that fit into that? It's worth it. It's an amazing story from beginning to end. Definitely worth your time. And number 4, who would I recommend this game for? Anyone who enjoys a very, very interesting kind of twisted story. Not twisted in a like, oh, that's weird twisted, but one where you're going to find things out and the story's going to navigate a very interesting path. It's very interesting story. It's going to keep you wanting to explore more. And obviously, I'm going to recommend this game to anyone who has played Alan Wake. And obviously, if you've played Control, definitely go back and play this one. But definitely, if you've played Alan Wake, there are Alan Wake references in the game, and I found some of them, probably not all of them, but I did definitely find some of them, and it adds a very cool and unique element to the game. Anyone who is looking for a unique game that is a third-person shooter, or if you don't care if it's a third-person shooter, you're just looking for a very unique game, but a game that isn't going to require you to put 150 hours in to actually fully understand, this is definitely a game worth checking out. But that's going to do it for my review of Quantum Break. Again, overall, very interesting, very excellent game, well made, highly worth your time. I highly recommend this game. This game is definitely in my top games of the year, which I'll have to make a list. I will make a list. If you're watching this, you're going back and watching this later, there will probably be a link to it down below. If not, be on the lookout for my end of the year top games. I can promise you Quantum Break will definitely be on that list. But thank you so much for watching, especially those of you that have made it to this point in the video. I truly appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you like the video, please make sure you hit that like button. That way I know for sure that you did like the video. Feel free to go ahead and share this with anyone you know who's interested in potentially checking out Quantum Break, because hey, if they need that little extra nudge, here it is. And if you enjoy this type of content, enjoy the reviews that I'm doing here on the channel and all the different gameplay videos I'm doing on the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. That way you guys will know for sure when the next videos go up. But until then, you all take care of yourselves, and I will see you all next time. Bye, loves. Wow! Right in the nuts! Oh god, I made a car explode?